Yeah, I don't. All right, good evening, everyone. Again, my apologies about last night. Meretz Hashem won't happen again. But let's continue. So we are picking up on Testament Beis 9b. We actually did the Mishnah in our last year, but let's just do a quick reread of the Mishnah again on 9b. Says the Mishnah, remember again, whereas in the first Mishnah in the Masechta we were speaking about Kriyas Shema of Arvis, Kriyas Shema of Ma'ariv. Now the Mishnah begins with a simple discussion. At what point, from when, can we begin to say the morning Shema? So the Gemara says, when there's enough light to tell the difference between blue and white. Okay, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, bein tchelis lekarsi. It's not between blue and white, rather what is it? Between blue and green. So already again I will say, what are they arguing about? They're arguing about how much light, right? Obviously you need more light to see the difference between blue and green than to see the difference between blue and white. Okay, v'gomra. So the Rabbi says, that's the machlokes about the beginning time. How long, until what point in the morning can you say the daytime Shema? So the Gemara says, v'gomra adanei tzachama. Ideally, you should finish Shema by nates. You should finish Shema by sunrise. Now, also, we're going to see, by the way, interestingly enough, it's not really about finishing Shema by sunrise, but rather it's more about saying Shemona Esrei at sunrise. And we're going to see the juxtaposition between Shema and Shemona Esrei. Okay. Rabbi Yeshua says, Ad shaloshos. You could actually say the morning Shema up until 3 hours into the day. Now remember again, I will say that means 3 hours after sunrise. Although we'll see it's a machlokes, is it 3 hours after sunrise or 3 hours after dawn? Again, we're going to begin to clarify many of these issues as we continue to go on. So why 3 hours? Where do you get 3 hours? Shekein derech melachim lama b'shaloshos. Because again, I will say, remember again, morning Shema. How does the Torah describe the timing for morning Shema? How does the Torah describe it? When you get up, right? When you get up. So in other words, the morning Shema is said at a time when people get up. So therefore, again, interestingly enough, it's from the beginning of the time that people normally get up until the end time that people normally get up. Royalty sleeps a little bit later than the rest of us, and therefore royalty used to often get up 3 hours into the day. Therefore, already even 3 hours into the day is still considered to be bikumecha, at a time that people are arising. So Rabbi Yeshua, so good. So Gemara says, "Akari mikan ve'ilech." What happens if you miss the window? So what happens already? I wake up late. It's already 4 hours into the day. So what do? Do I say Shema? Not say Shema? Of course you say Shema, but understand when you say Shema after 3 hours into the day, you're not really fulfilling the mitzvah of Shema, because the mitzvah of Kriyas Shema is to say Shema, but also to say it in a particular time. If you say it after that time, then what? Kikori b'Torah ba'alma. Lo hifsik ha'adam akar b'Torah. Again, it's meaningful, like someone who's reading from the Torah. We're still reading from the Torah, but ultimately, again, one does not satisfy the obligation of Shema. Beautiful. Let's see the Gemara. So we'll say, what does it mean? So let's go with the first opinion, right? So the beginning of the Mishnah spoke about the earliest time to be able to say Shema. So the first opinion said when there's enough light to tell the difference between blue and white. So what does that mean? So we'll say, if you're talking about seeing the difference between a ball of wool that's white and a ball of wool that's blue, the truth is you could see that distinction at night. In other words, we'll say even at night, you could still see differences between colors. So if that's what it's talking about, that's even nighttime. Rather, the Gemara says, no. So the Gemara says, Ella bein tcheles Shabbat lelavan Shabbat. It's actually a very beautiful image on the tzitzis. So remember again, I will say, there's a mitzvah of tcheles on tzitzis to have one string, or, dyed blue. So when there's enough light to be able to tell the difference between the blue string and the white string. Now that's different, let's say, between 2 balls of wool, because 2 balls of wool, which are separate and distinct, you could see the difference between them. But on the tzitzis, where the strings are all together, you need a little bit more light to be able to distinguish. So when can you begin to say the morning Shema? At a time when you could begin to distinguish between the blue strings and the white strings in your tzitzis. A very beautiful idea. Tanya, so again, other ideas. Rabbi Meir Omer Mishiyakir bein ze'ev lekelev. When there's enough light, tell there's between a wolf and a dog. Okay, so that's the time that you can begin to say Shema. Rabbi Akiva Omer bein Chamar la'arud. Rabbi Akiva says we could tell just a regular donkey and a wild donkey. Who knew, right? Right, wild donkey and a regular donkey. When there's enough light that you could see someone who's not your best friend, but that you're familiar with, and you could recognize them at a distance of 4 amos. So I'll tell you, I had last night I was at an event, and someone came over. I walked over to a group of people, and I heard my name. So the person in the group was saying, I know Rabbi Silber. So I walk over, and the person says the words that I fear most in any group setting, which are, "You remember me, right? You remember me, right?" And literally, for the life of me, I'm like, I can't place it. The person's like, no, you remember. The person was telling me that I remember, right? You remember me. This went on for about 5 minutes. Still, somebody who was standing next to us said, "I'm pretty sure Rabbi Silber does not remember you." Right? I said, it turns out it was someone who I knew, mamish, from 20 years ago. But like when you're in just like a foreign setting, and you're not expecting to see someone, so like I don't know, at least my brain doesn't work there. Anyway, so the Gemara says, when can you begin to say Kriyas Shema in the morning? When you're at a distance that there's enough light that you could recognize someone who's not your best friend, but you can still discern them. Okay? So the Gemara goes weiter. The Gemara says, Am Rav Huna halacha k'acherim. The halacha follows the acherim. This last opinion. That when can you begin to say the morning Shema? When there's enough light to be able to see someone who you are familiar with at a distance of Dalet Amos. Dalet Amos is 6 feet away, and be able to recognize them. Now, here's what I'll point out. Let's actually finish up. L'tfilin k'acherim. The truth is, the halacha for tefillin follows this opinion as well. The Kriyas Shema kivasikim. The Kriyas Shema kivasikim. Now, both saying, let's pause here for just a second. The earliest time, and this is not, it's interesting just because it was kind of brought in here just as a side point. Let's take a step back. If you were to plot the morning, right? So essentially what we have is 3 different times in halachic morning. Dawn, alos hashachar, right? And then again, if we go to the other side, then there is netzach hama, sunrise. So you have dawn, it's the relationship between dawn and sunrise. For our purposes, 72 minutes, right? Sunrise is an observable event. Dawn is 72 minutes. There's an opinion of the Rambam that dawn is 90 minutes, but we'll go with 72 minutes. In the middle there is this time called Mishayakir, right? Mishayakir literally is an abbreviated Mishayakir eschavero haragil imo berichok dalet amos. When it's light enough that you could recognize someone who you are acquainted with at a distance of 6 feet. What time of the morning is that? Interestingly enough, that is 50 minutes before sunrise. So in other words, 22 minutes after dawn, 50 minutes before sunrise. That's Mishayakir. That is the earliest time for Talis and Tefillin. Earliest time for Talis and Tefillin. So this comes up, by the way, a lot during this time of year. Because again, a lot of times, especially people who need to daven at very early minyanim, sometimes you're starting to daven and it's even too early for talis and tefillin. So that's why again, different shuls have different ways that they deal with this. But that's this concept. So the Gemara says over here, the time of Mishayakir is really relevant for tefillin. Shema really has a different ideal time. The Kriyas Shema kivasikin. Shema should be recited kivasikin. Now, what does it mean kivasikin? Listen to this. Vasikin, right? The early ones. Rashi says, Anoshim anovim umechavavin mitzvah. Vasikin, I will say Rashi means as people who are humble and love mitzvos. So when do the Vasikin daven? Vasikin hayugomrin osam and eitzachama. The Vasikin, they used to daven Shema and finish it right before sunrise. Right? It's actually interesting because the word vasik itself, right? Vasik can mean older or established. We use the term vasikin for someone who davens at sunrise. It's actually interesting that Rashi understands vasikin as someone who is humble and loves mitzvos. They will say, so why does vasikin mean someone who's humble and loves mitzvos? They'll say, to give up sleep, you really only give up sleep for things that you dramatically care about. Right? Sleep is important, and to get up early has to be for something that really drives you. Right? People don't get up early just for stam stuff. So people who would habitually give up time, give up sleep, right, in order to be able to daven with sunrise, it was because of two reasons. Number one, humility. Why humility? Because what that means is you place God's needs over your own needs. Because if it's about me, I'm sleeping later, right? But if I place God's needs before my needs, that's humility. And clearly there's a love of mitzvahs, because why else would I give up my own sleep for something? Incredible. So the Tanya that supports this, Vasikin hayugomer osem enetzachamo. The Vasikin, they would finish Shema with sunrise, or really right before sunrise. Kadesh yismoch geula litfila v'nimtza mispala bayom. So we'll say, so the ideal way to daven Vasikin, the way the Vasikin people would daven is, they would recite Shema, they would finish Shema right before sunrise, so as to begin Shmona Esrei exactly with sunrise. Excuse me, that was the practice of the Vasikin. Amar Rabbi Zer's Mikra, what's the pasuk that supports this practice? Yiraucha im shamash v'lefnei areach dardarim. So we'll say it's that first part of the pasuk. Yiraucha im shamash. We will see you, Hashem, with the rising of the sun. It's actually quite beautiful. So in other words, Shmona Esrei, which is the ultimate dialogue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Remember again, the rest of davening is a preparation for Shmona Esrei. Shmona Esrei is the essence. It's direct communication. It's the dialogue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's Yirauchem Hashem, I will come to see you, i.e. recite Shmona Esrei im Shemesh, with the rising of the sun. It's so beautiful. Hey Rabbi Yossi ben Yokim b'shum kila kedisha b'Yerushalayim. So Rabbi Yossi ben Yokim testified in the name of the Holy Congregation of Yerushalayim. Listen to this. Kalasomich geula l'tfila, eino nizak kalayom kulo. Wow. What does the say? Whoever is careful to juxtapose geula l'tfila. Now what does this mean? What is geula? Geula is the bracha of Ga'al Yisrael. Right? The concluding bracha of Berachos Kriyas Shema, of the brachos we recite after Shema. Whoever is careful to go ahead and juxtapose geula l'tfila. So in other words, I say Ga'al Yisrael, and I daven Shemona Esrei immediately, Eino nizak kol yom kulo, will not be harmed that entire day. Okay, well, we'll discuss exactly what that means. Amar Rabbi Ini, is that true? V'ha'ana samchi ve'iski. Listen to this. So Rabbi Zera says, I don't mean to rain on your parade, but I don't know, I go ahead and make sure to juxtapose Ga'al Yisrael, which Shemona Esrei every single day, and bad stuff happens to me. So listen to this. So he said, Rabbi Zera, tell me, how were you harmed? De'amtias asa lebei malka. I was forced to bring myrtle branches to the palace of the king. In other words, I was conscripted into the king's service. Hasam nami mi bailacha lamev egra lemechse ape malka. The truth is, that's not a punishment. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Even you should pay money to be able to see a monarch. Dam Rabbi Yochanan, listen to this. Li'olam yishtadl adam laros likras malchei Yisrael. A person should always try his best to see monarchy, to see Jewish kings. V'lo likras malchei Yisrael bilvad, not only to see Jewish monarchy, ela afilu likras malchei akum, even to see non-Jewish monarchy. Why? Shem yiske yavchin ben malchei Yisrael and malchei akum. Because this way, again, a person will be able to distinguish between Jewish monarchy and non-Jewish monarchy. So we'll say this is actually a very interesting idea that Chazal wanted people to be able to look at monarchs. We'll say what's the pshat? So I'll tell you the truth. I appreciated this Gemara much more when Queen Elizabeth passed away, right? And there was all of the pomp and circumstance around her burial and around the coronation of the king. There's something moving about it. There is something truly moving about it. It almost gives you a glimpse, into you see, so to speak, what a great person. I don't know if the king is a great person or not. I don't know if Queen Elizabeth seemed like a very nice lady. I don't know. But you see, I'm sorry? The position. You see, what monarchy looks like, what greatness, what grandeur looks like. Now, why is this important? Because remember, again, we are all children of the king. Right, we're all children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Moshe is the Melech, and we are his children. As such, we are royalty, and we are aristocracy also. What's the whole chap with royalty? It's interesting. How they always catch these pictures of the royal family, where what's the king's son, the one who he talks to, William. William, right? So like every once in a while, like they'll catch these. And his wife is Kate. Yeah. So every once in a while, like the press will catch these pictures like they're kids, like making faces or this that. So it's cute. It's like I don't know. My kids do that all the time. Like no one's taking pictures of them, right? What's the pshat? Because like royalty. The assumption is like they conduct themselves. So when people see like the humanity of royalty, like it's cute. But the whole chap with royalty is like everything is measured. The way you walk, the way you talk, how you conduct yourself, right? Everything is measured. And the truth is, there's an incredible musar in that. Because I say that's kind of the way we're supposed to live also. Like every word should be measured, and every step should be measured, and every action should really be choreographed and thought about. So the Gemara says over here, it's good to see monarchy, because monarchy models for us, perhaps in an amplified fashion, how we're supposed to live. We are also supposed to live scripted lives. All too often what ends up happening in life is we don't make a plan. We kind of just like live by the seat of our pants. And so it's a very haphazard way to live. Life should be choreographed. Life should be scheduled. Life should be organized. Obviously, again, then of course there's all the chaos in life also. But that's the goal. So the Gemara says, coming full circle. So Rabbi Zera thinks that he's been put at a disadvantage. He's like, come on, I say Gal Yisrael and Shmona Esrei and go into Shmona Esrei every single day. And yet again, I am put at a disadvantage. The king forces me to bring myrtle branches to his palace. To which the Gemara says, is that really true? At the end of the day, that's a privilege to go to the palace. I know it's costing you some money, but Lamaisa, the fact that you have the ability to see the monarchy every single day is an incredible opportunity. So the Gemara goes right there. The Gemara says, Amar lei Rabbi Loi, Lu'ula. Ki ailis lahasam, when you go up to Eretz Yisrael, shal b'shlama d'Rabbarona achi b'mamad kol chabura. Inquire about the welfare of Barona, my brother, and inquire about him, in the middle of the base medrash, in front of everyone. Give him kavod. Dadam gadlu v'sameach b'mitzvos, and he's so happy to do mitzvos. Zimna, listen to this. Zimna chada samach gul l'tfila. One time Rav Barona was able to go ahead and juxtapose the bracha of Gal Yisrael to Shmona Esrei v'lo pasak chuka mipumei kol yom, and he couldn't stop smiling the entire day. Let's say, can you imagine being on that level? All of us, we do mitzvos. But often we do mitzvos from a sense of obligation, a sense of duty. Do we feel the simcha in our Yiddishkeit? Right? When I put on my tefillin in the morning, do I say, you know what? I am so privileged. I am so privileged to have this mitzvah. I am so privileged to daven. I'm so privileged to recite Berachos Hamazon, right? When you do a mitzvah the right way, okay, like it feels good, but does it put a smile on your face? It's just beautiful. Like these are our role models, right? Even if I'm not on that level, I know what is possible, and this is what I aspire to. I aspire to be the kind of Jew who, when I fulfill a mitzvah in the right way, there's a smile on my face. Like, I'm just so happy about that. It makes my day incredible. Heichi matzi samech. So now the Gemara gets into a technical issue. So now we've seen Shmuel. Excellent. What is it again? What is it? Frosted boysenberry. It feels a little made up, but Lamaisa, what is it? Frosted boy.
It's interesting that he's sitting right next to me.
Tomorrow's going to be at your table.
That there's an option other than being somech?
No. There is, sure. There's not being somech gul l'tefillah.
Meaning within the framework of...
Yeah, you daven Shema, and then I daven Shema, say 10 minutes later. Right? Or we're going to see, I answer Amen. So there are options. So listen to this. Now the Gemara has a technical question. Hechi matzi samech. So we'll say, so now remember again, the concept of smichas gul, let's just go for 2 more minutes. The concept of smichas gul l'tefillah means I say the bracha of Gal Yisrael and I go right into Shmona Esrei. The Gemara says, 1 second, it's actually not possible. Why? V'ham Rabbi Yochanan b'tchilahu omer, Hashem sefasai tiftach, u'lebasofu omer, yul ratzonim refi. So we'll say, so again, how can you ever be somech gul l'tefillah? After all, in Shmona Esrei, before you daven Shachris, what do you have? Hashem sefasai tiftach u'fi agid tilasecha. I have that phrase. That phrase, by definition, interrupts, so to speak, between the bracha of Gal Yisrael and Shmona Esrei. On Rabbi Lazar, tehei b'tefillah shel arvis. Okay, by Ma'ariv you could have it. So Rabbi Yochanan, Ezu ben Olam Haba. Zeh ezu ben alam haba. Zeh somich gula. I'm sorry. Zeh somich gula shal arvis letfila shal arvis. But 1 second, we see that there's even a din of smichas gula tefila by Ma'ariv. But by Ma'ariv, I also have a problem. El amar balazar tei b'tefila samincha. Tei b'tefila samincha. Rav Ashi amar afilu tema kulu kevan dekavor rabbanon b'tefila ketefila arichta damya. Both say this is incredible. See, the Havamin in the Gemara is that we look at Hashem Sefasai Tiftach as what? As something additional and extraneous to Shmona Esrei. If you look at it that way, then it is effectively interrupting between Gal Yisrael and Shmona Esrei. What the Gemara says, anything that the rabbis institute as part of Shmona Esrei becomes what? Part of Shmona Esrei. And therefore, again, Hashem Sefasai Tiftach is part of Shmona Esrei itself. Let's just finish up this thought. If you don't say this, Arvis Hechi Matzi Samech, Vaybayla Memra Hashkivenu. Ella kevan de takin rabbanan hashkivenu kegula arichta damya hachenami kevan de kavor rabbanan betfila ketfila arichta damya. So I said this is incredible. So the Gemara essentially answers. Look at hashkivenu. Remember again that you're supposed to be somich gul tefila by Ma'ariv as well. So by Ma'ariv I have the bracha of Gal Yisrael, right? But yet after that I have hashkivenu. The truth is, by the way, in Chutz La'aretz it's even worse. Even more complicated, right? What's even more complicated? Yeah, Baruch Hashem the Olam Amin V'Amin, right? I have another paragraph. So how can I be somich gul tefila? So the answer is, since the rabbis instituted those brachos, they're considered to be like an extension of Ga'al Yisrael. And therefore, there's still the juxtaposition. The same way that works by Ma'ariv, that works by Hashem Sefasai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tilasecha as well. Since the rabbis instituted Hashem Sefasai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tilasecha, therefore what? It's considered to be part of Shmona Esrei, and therefore it is not an interruption. Right? I will say, tremendous Yashikayach. We'll stop over here for tonight. Mirat Hashem tomorrow night. We'll continue. We'll get hopefully again through. We'll try to get through the middle of Yud Amud Aleph. Mirat Hashem tomorrow. Shikayach, everyone.